Share the screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Welcome to the Happy Humanoids Perspective, where your beliefs are challenged, thoughts provoked, and where you may find your happy place whether you like it or not.
And here are your hosts, Edith and Miles.
Woohoo! Woohoo! Welcome everyone to our show. My name is Miles Kiefer, and I'm a certified access consciousness facilitator. And I'm joined here tonight with
Edith Paul, and I'm an Access Consciousness Certified Facilitator as well. Welcome to our 47th show.
Yes, 47. It's just about my age, I think.
Yeah, almost, eh? We're not there yet.
All right. Going backwards. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a great show tonight. I think it's really interesting. We both kind of I can speak for myself. I do a little research before the podcast usually. And tonight, the topic of our show is creating ease in the face of judgment. And it's interesting how, if we're looking for information, how it just shows up. So like the face of judgment can be that's what I like that title, because it's like, if you're in front of your butcher, or you're in front of your spouse or your friend or your family, or not your dog, because your dog doesn't maybe have judgment, but anyone that is there, your realtor, whatever, there's going to be judgment there. And also, if you're looking in the mirror, that's probably the greatest judgment that we face, is our own self-judgment. So today we're going to clear points of view about judgment and explore the different ways that it creeps in, and how it can be nasty on creating what we desire. So thanks for tuning in, and let's get started.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, in this reality, the judgment is so real.
Mm-hmm.
It's so real. And in the world of an infinite being, a judgment is not real. Right. Doesn't exist. So every time you make a judgment significant, you create something, you perpetrate something that is not real.
Yeah.
So everywhere you align and agree with people's judgment about you or themselves, or with your own judgment of you,
mm-hmm.
Well, and create and destroy it all times a godzillion.
Yes, right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, online shorts, boys and beyonds. Yeah, and it's like we get so accustomed to believing that this judgment is real and basing our life on judgment, that we think that it is us, it is part of us, and it's like a requirement for living on this planet. Like judgment is, it seeps in everything, it permeates almost everything, and it is. It's just this made up lie that we have, that we keep real and true. And it's like that we think that we are the judgments, and we think that we have to defend the judgments of other people, and most of all, the judgments of ourselves. So everywhere that we have bought into the identity of judgment is associated with who I am, who you are, and what this reality has to offer. We destroy and uncreate all of that times a godzillion, please.
Mm-hmm. Yes, right and wrong, in bad, poking pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And one of the things that we can do when we are in front of judgment, first, it's to acknowledge it. Okay, mm-hmm. I'm judging myself, or someone has just judged me. And the trick here is, what do I choose for me? Do I choose to align and agree, resist and react, keep myself in emotion about that, then the trauma and drama of the judgment?
Yeah.
Or do I choose to be in allowance of it? That's the thing. Just imagine the freedom that you could have in your life if you allow yourself to have no point of view about your own judgment, or about what people, the judgment of other people. And yes, what Gary says about that is, when you allow yourself to receive a judgment, you receive $5,000 every time. And when you don't allow yourself to receive judgment, you lose $10,000 every time.
Mhm.
And what it means by that is that it's about your capacity to receive. And a judgment is an energy. So when you allow yourself to receive an energy as a judgment, like a judgment, with no point of view, you are receiving so much more. You allow yourself to receive so much more. So everything that doesn't allow you to receive the energy of the judgment, well, uncreate and destroy it all times a godzillion.
Yes, right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, online, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Yeah, Gary talks about that we can create from awareness, and that's all wonderful and beautiful and butterflies and all that. And most of what we create from is from judgment. And until we can recognize that that's really the primary place that we're creating from in this reality, we can't move beyond it. It's like this idea that it's just, I would say it's so infested in this reality that it's creating from judgment. It seems like the normal thing. It seems like the right thing to do. It's so ingrained in how we choose, whether it's positive or negative. It's still a judgment. It's not coming from awareness. And until we can begin to recognize that we are creating our life from judgment, like if something, this is a good choice for me to do it, or this is a bad choice for me, or this person can help me in this situation, without asking questions. It's more about assessing from our mind and from judgment about the value of that person, what they have for me, or the value of doing one thing or another, or the value of not doing something. Those are all places about judgment, about seeing how that, like throwing the pasta up against the wall and seeing if it sticks, how does that reflect in what I'm choosing, not from asking questions. And asking questions is so much simpler, yet in this reality it seems like it's hard because it's not tangible. It's like it's, as opposed to saying, like having someone say, oh, this looks really good, this situation, if I were to choose this, and I could see that would be, it would really work well for me. And instead of asking a question, if I were to choose this, what would my life be like in 5 years? That's a very different way of functioning in this reality. And living from the question is the space in which we can create much more than the space of judgment, because judgment, we have to have the opposite, or have some sort of reflection of, did we do the right choice, or did we do the wrong choice, or is this the good assessment of that? So it's really just asking questions and going into the space of being open to what's available. So everywhere that we're primarily creating this reality based on the judgments of the past and the judgments of the future of what we will create, will you please destroy and uncreate all of that times godzillion?
Right and wrong, good and bad, fucking pot, online, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Another tool you can use with the judgment, if you're not sure, okay, is it a judgment or an awareness, is the tool light and heavy.
Yeah.
And when it's light, it's because it's true for you. And when it's heavy, it's because it's a lie. So if I tell you, you are a garbage of this society, you're not helpful to anyone, and you will be, everyone will be happy if you die. So sorry, that comes off. So is it light or heavy?
Definitely light.
Yeah.
Oh, no, wait, sorry. I had a judgment there. It's definitely.
It's heavy.
Yeah.
It's heavy. So if heavy, what does heavy mean? It's a lie.
Yeah.
It's a lie. So if someone tells you something and it's a lie, and it's heavy, it's because it's a lie. But how much time and energy did we try to believe in the lie of something that doesn't exist? because judgment doesn't exist in the reality of an infinite being. So everywhere you believe in the lie of something that doesn't exist, and then we try to, okay, will you create and destroy it all times a godzillion?
Yes, right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, on and shorts, boys and beyonds.
And how much of our life after that we try to prove that we're not this or we are this, when it's a lie.
Yeah.
So how much of your energy are you using, how much of your time are you using to try to prove you're not something?
The lie.
Yeah, you're not the lie that doesn't exist.
Right.
And everything that is, will create and destroy it all times a godzillion.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, on and shorts, boys and beyonds. Sounds like some kind of a magic trick or something.
Yeah. And I have another question, may I?
Of course.
So everywhere you believe that this heaviness is true and real, and this density is true and real, will you create and destroy it all times a godzillion?
Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, on and shorts, boys and beyonds.
And I have another one.
Go for it.
Everywhere you incarcerated yourself in this heaviness, will you now create and destroy it all times a godzillion?
Yes. Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, on and shorts, boys and beyonds.
Okay.
3's the charm, that's it?
Yeah.
3 for now.
Yeah. 2 or 4. I don't remember.
Oh, that's good. Cool. Yeah, it's like one of the tools that Gary talks about is what's right about this that I'm not getting, and how to use the tools of access to manipulate someone who is trying to control you. Like judgment is really one form of control. Like someone's trying to control you by making yourself feel badly about yourself, or making yourself feel small, or making them feel superior, or whatever that is. So one way to control that is, or to counteract that, or to aikido that, is to agree with them. And not necessarily agree with them, but just agree with them verbally, but you don't have to buy into what you're saying. It's just a manipulation. So if someone calls me selfish, or a snob, or whatever it is, and I can just I am a snob. It's like, it's true. There's nothing there for them to latch onto, or nothing there for them to push, because it's even though I may not believe what I say, I tell them what they need to hear, or tell them something that allows them, or allows me to be at ease about it. Interesting thing about improv is, during a scene, if something in this reality, we tend to defend a point of view, or defend against something someone says, a judgment that they have toward us. And in improv, they teach us to don't defend, because if someone calls me, let's say I'm on stage and someone says, "Oh, you're such a selfish pig," and then if I'm defending that, the scene kind of dies. There's not really any exploration with it. It just sort of there's this argument that goes, and there's nowhere for it to go. It just sort of peters out and just goes away. But if I were to say, yeah, I am. I'm such a selfish pig. I've been wanting to change that. Then there's this whole dynamic, and the other person plays into it, and then there can be this whole long scene or a whole show based on the person acknowledging that they're a selfish pig. So it's so much more entertaining and fun and light. And that's one of the things about being receiving judgment, or trying to defend against judgment, is if we get to the space of laughter and talk about things that we're judge ourselves about, then it just sort of becomes apparent that it's not real. It's just this thing that we've made up, that we've bought into. And once we can laugh about it and talk about it, comedians do that all the time. It's then we can explore, this is just something that's been made up. It's not real. It doesn't have any strength over me anymore. So everywhere that you're not willing to lower your barriers and to say yes to the judgments that are coming at you with no point of view, just as a way to manipulate, to create more of what you desire, and to create more consciousness and awareness for you, will you please destroy and uncreate all of that times a godzillion?
Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyond. one other tool that you can use with if someone is judging you is interesting point of view, that this person has this point of view.
Yeah.
And say it until you perceive the electrical charge that is there in you is gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's the same for you. It's the same if you have the judgment of you. Using interesting point of view, I have this point of view, interesting point of view, I have this point of view, interesting point of view, I have this point of view, will help you diminish this electrical charge that you have, that comes with the judgment that you have of yourself. Yeah. So it's simple,
Mm-hmm.
and it works.
Yeah.
So what are you going to choose? And what I said at the beginning about, okay, what would it take if you choose, if you're in front of a judgment, so what do you choose? Do you choose to be in allowance? And you're not so much in allowance of that. Repeat everything that doesn't allow that. Will you create and destroy it all times a godzillion?
Mm-hmm.
And then using the pocket pod with that, everything that doesn't allow me to be in allowance of this. And usually, sometimes we can have access to some awarenesses of beliefs that we have, points of view that that we have that we kept, that we bought,
Mm-hmm.
about it's not okay to be this way.
Yeah.
So, and the thing is, a judgment, sometimes it's not the judgment that will, it's not what the person think, it's not the words, it's the energy
Mm-hmm.
that is there. And I invite you to look at this because you are very psychic. You can perceive so much. And sometimes we are under the word that comes on the spell of the judgment of the other person. What do I want to say by that? Is that if the person, when she is saying the judgment, she's telling us the judgment, what is her intention? Her or his intention? Is it for us to feel bad? And we will often immediately feel bad because this is what the person, because we are aware of what the person desires for us and we become this. Is it that when the person judges, the person desires for us to change? And what are you aware of when the person judges you?
Mm-hmm.
What are you aware of? What is behind that? What is, because the judgment is what is in front, but what is behind? What is the intention of the person? Because you can perceive that as well. And this is often what we get stuck with. It's what is behind all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Or do they desire to crush you? Sometimes when you hear a judgment of someone and you feel like you're crushed, and it's like, ugh. Yeah, is it that you perceive the energy of the other person who, when she judged you, she wanted to crush you? If it's the case, return all that to sender with consciousness attached. So everywhere the people who desire to crush you, to make you feel bad, they had the desire to change you, will you now return all that to sender with consciousness attached?
Yes, right or wrong, good and bad, pot and puck, online shorts, boys and beyonds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like what you said about being in allowance. Like judgment cannot exist with allowance. It's like night and day. It's like you can't have the sun and the night at the same time. It's like the light or the dark. You know, it's like allowance is the ultimate tool. Or actually even gratitude, I guess, is another thing. You could say, like, having gratitude for someone immediately takes away the judgments. Like if I have gratitude for, like if there's something that I'm really irritated about someone or something or whatever, or myself, if I can have gratitude for myself in some way, that it eases my charge of being judgmental about myself. And also judging yourself and trying to justify the judgments that you have about yourself or toward other people, it doesn't allow you to choose something else. Because if you're still keeping alive the judgment of yourself or someone else, it doesn't allow you for something else. It keeps you stuck in the cycle of that lie, and it's really not so easy to let go of it. Yeah, it's like having like the DJCCs, the decisions, judgments, conclusions, computations, is a way of keeping in place the things, the points of view that you have about yourself. So what would it take for you to allow yourself to be okay with the judgments that you've chosen, and then be in gratitude for something else and choose something next time? The next choice you make, maybe have it be more about gratitude or allowance, and asking for awareness, or asking questions about what would it take for me to have this, or whatever it is that you're wanting to shift in your life. So everything that doesn't allow that, will you destroy and uncreate all that times a godzillion, please?
Mm-hmm. Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and putt, all nine shorts, balls and beyond. I will say it differently than what you just said.
Yeah, cool.
Same thing is like the judgment is a great way to keep the same thing in place.
Right.
So what is it? What's the value of keeping something in place?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, if it's about you, if it's about someone else, what is it that you desire to keep in place? And yeah, and everything that doesn't allow that, and everything that doesn't allow you to move forward or to know, be, perceive, and receive whatever it is that you want to keep in place, will, uncreate and destroy it all times a godzillion. Mm-hmm.
Yes, right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pocket, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. This next part is like really interesting for me. It's like acknowledging that whenever I'm judging something, if I'm judging a person or myself, Gary calls it the exit strategy. It's like whatever we judge, it's like we're looking for a way out. We're looking to destroy whatever it is that we're judging, so much so that we use that as a way to get away from the situation or the person or ourselves. And I think about that myself. It's like, how much of my judgment have I created for myself that is destroying my body? And how much do we do to our friends or to our family to try to create some kind of an exit strategy to get away from them, to create separation, to create the barriers that keep us isolated, to keep us contracted and keep us small? I wonder about that, because there's so much of the disease can be linked to judgment, about how our judgment shifts the shape of the cells and becomes elliptical cells, and they're not healthy cells, and begin to break down and morph into some other type of cell. And you could look at that metaphor with our life, how we send out almost like the Terminator energy out to places that we're judging. If it's something that we're doing or some place that we don't like or whatever it is, we're trying to destroy what's in front of us and trying to find a way to get out of that. Instead of asking a question or being in allowance or choosing something greater, or, okay, what is it about this that I'm trying to destroy? What is it about my life that I'm trying to destroy? What is it that, is it some other belief system that I've taken on, or is it some kind of demons from the past, or is it entities that I'm living from that I'm creating this destruction of my life or my body or my friendships or whatever it is, my businesses, whatever that is. Anywhere that we have judgment, it's a way of we're destroying our life. So what would it take for us to choose to live fully and completely? And everything that doesn't allow that, we destroy and uncreate all that times godzillion.
Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and putt, all nine shorts, balls and beyonds. And sometimes we have to go deeper with ourselves. What are the dynamics that you have created, when people judge you? Is it that you become a victim and you go into this space of being a victim. So people judge me and I'm not valuable because they judge me. Is it that you become righteous and you don't have the right to judge me and you're not right and it's not okay for you, that kind of thing? And you work on the other person to stop judging you instead of allowing whatever is. And just look at the energy that is required here when you resist and react to something instead of allowing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the thing is, what we fight for to try when we resist and react, this is not true. We fight for something that is not true, that is not real. Yeah. Or do you go into the space of sadness? Yeah, because when you were sad, people were taking care of you. Is it that?
Mm-hmm.
Do you go in the space of becoming what as I said, do you go in the space where the other person desires you to be? Or, yeah, when the person judges you, like if the person, when she judges you, she just wants to crush you, are you crushing yourself? So, yeah, and the more you're going to become aware of all that, the more you're going to be able to shift all that.
Right.
Because this is through awareness and this is through consciousness that we can change everything. It's not by not looking at it. It's not by focusing just on whatever is positive in your life. It's about looking at what is, looking at everything that is there and allowing you to allow it, all of that, and clear everything that is there for you to allow everything and be in that space of no point of view. Just imagine being in a space where you have no point of view.
Mm-hmm.
If people judge you. Have you ever been in that space where you were so joyful that you knew people were judging you and you didn't give a damn? You didn't care about it. It was like, hey, that's okay. They can judge me as much as they want.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so what would it take for you to choose to be in this level of joy in your life that will allow yourself to acknowledge that people judge you and not being affected by that? So everywhere you believe that you have to be you have to be affected by people's judgment, that keeps you in the trauma and drama of this reality. Well, uncreate and destroy it all times a godzillion.
Right, wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Yeah, it's interesting. Like, why do we choose that? I wanted to go somewhere with what you just said about what was it? So about even like finding. Oh, I've lost it.
Is it resisting and reacting? Is it about...
Something you said, I think, well, maybe I'll just repeat what you said. Something about, you didn't say this, but like, do we choose people to, like, so they'll judge us? And you were saying, like, being in a space of being at ease about that. What was it? Something about being at ease about the judgments of others? Oh, and not, this is what it was. Something about you said that being in the space where people judge you and you don't have a point of view about it, what does that person have, or what are they choosing that they're in that space, and they can be in that space of having lots of people judge them. And I think some of that is that they're comfortable in their own skin, and they're more accustomed to sort of managing judgment, I guess. And like the more people become well-known or famous, or like Gary and Dane, they are dealing with judgment a lot because of people, they have their own judgments and they're projecting them on Gary and Dane. And, we have that to some degree, whether we're famous or not, and I think the more people are in the public eye, the more they have that energetic Terminator energy going toward them to tear them down, because of what they represent is something that is maybe that we as an audience, if we're judging them, don't want or are afraid of, or they're just so comfortable being themselves and being judged that they are okay with that. So what would it take for us to be in that space of being comfortable in our own skin, to not have to prove our existence and not have to defend the judgments of others? Because as Gary says and Dane says, it's just an interesting point of view. It doesn't exist. It's not real. We just make it real. So what would it take for us to be comfortable in our own skin and to choose for us the life that we desire to have, and everything that doesn't allow that, will you please destroy and uncreate all of that times a godzillion, please.
Mm-hmm. Right and wrong and bad, puck and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Yeah. And yeah, maybe the last thing before, well, on my side.
Yeah.
If you judge others, just look at this. Is it that you try to manipulate them for them to change? Will that work? Will that work?
Not so
I know
much.
that we often been raised this way, that our parents wanted, they judge us for us to change. And is it what we got when they didn't say that they wanted us to change, but it was their intention that was behind, that was telling us, you have to change. So is it that, or is it, for me, in my relationship with Miles, when I judge him, I realized today that it's because I don't know what to do other than that to change it. So is it the same for you? Do you judge people because you don't know how to deal with it? So what would it take so everything that is, will you create and destroy it all times a godzillion?
Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pocket on his shorts, bulls, meons.
And what would it take for you to choose other possibilities than judging?
Yeah.
Yeah, in order, because when you judge, what I realized today too is when I judge him, I stay stuck. I keep myself in a space that is not fun for me either. I don't move forward. I stay there. I keep in place because a judgment is a conclusion. It's a fixed point of view. So, yeah. So, and it's the same for you if you do this with yourself. Are you stuck somewhere in your life? And is it here? Is it required for you to, would you like to move on with your life? What if it's about clearing all that and choose something else and allowing yourself, hey, I don't know how to do this differently with myself because I judge myself for so many years.
Yeah.
What if it's about asking questions? What else is possible here? What other possibilities can I choose here? And everything that doesn't allow me to know, be, perceive, and receive all that. Well, and create and destroy it all times a godzillion. Yeah, so it's about that. And
yes.
Yeah, and what I realized for me too is about realizing that, well, there's something that I have to acknowledge of me in this. And I was preferring to judge him than to acknowledge something of me here. And when I realized this today, lightness just came up. And it's like, wow. Yeah, is it the same for you? Is there something that is required that you acknowledge yourself instead of judging other people? So
yeah, it's like everywhere we've been or done that. It's like when we're judging someone, we've been or done that in some lifetime or some reality. We wouldn't be able to recognize it as something. So
yeah.
You had a thought.
Yeah, so everything that doesn't allow you to know, be, perceive, and receive other possibilities for you, will and create and destroy it all times a godzillion.
That's right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pocket on his shorts, boys and beyonds. Such an innocent face. How could you be judgmental with my little innocent face? It's so hard to imagine.
Well, that's the thing. It's about acknowledging ourselves. Yeah, it's about that. And once we acknowledge ourselves, what works for us and what doesn't work for us.
Exactly.
Hey, the desire it's not the desire, but this habit to judge the other person, it's not there anymore.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, what would it take for all of us to be free, to be in allowance and gratitude for everything that is around us, everything that doesn't allow that to short on cradle. That times Godzillion.
Yes. Right and wrong in bad, pot, pock, all nine shorts, balls, me. And what would it take for us to be in allowance of the judgment that we have of others and of ourselves? What if it's part of the process as well?
Exactly.
And everything that doesn't allow that, well, we create and destroy it all times a Godzillion.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pocket, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. What a fun podcast this was today. It was so light and fluffy and just full of joy. I love it. That's pretty much the end of our podcast tonight, and we will see you. Let's see. Next week we're not going to be here, right?
No, we won't. We'll be in Costa Rica.
Costa Rica. We'll be here the following week, so tune in 2 weeks, and we will see you then. Thanks for listening.
Well,
please give us a honk of support by subscribing. You had something to say?
Yeah, we will be in Canada, I believe.
Yep, be in Canada, but we'll still be broadcasting probably.
Yeah. Yes.
Thanks for listening, and please give us a honk of support by subscribing, commenting, and sharing the show with your friends. Or, if you didn't like the show, please share it with your enemies. Thank you guys again for joining us tonight, and we will see you again soon.
Goodbye, everyone. Bye.
Bye.